What's happening, my Jacked family? Coach Scott here, jackedafter40.com. Today's video, we're going to talk about diet breaks, why they can be beneficial during a fat loss phase, as well as how and when to incorporate them into your cutting phase. There are two key factors that make for a successful diet. Number one is your ability to stick with that diet, follow through all the way to the end, and the other one is your ability to maintain that fat loss for life, long-term success. In recent videos, I've talked a lot about how it's easier to stick with your diet if you follow more of a lifestyle approach that works with your own natural eating tendencies and incorporates all of your favorite foods, including your favorite treats. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I follow more of a flexible dieting approach where I incorporate cheat meals, cheat days into my overall diet plan. The benefit for me with cheat meals is what I incorporate more when I'm in a caloric deficit, and I basically give myself nutritional freedom. I'm allowed to have a cheat meal any day I want, and just with that mindset alone, it just kind of takes away that feeling of deprivation. There's no restrictions on the food that I can eat, I can consume. So the only restriction is the caloric target. So if my caloric deficit that I'm aiming for is an 800 calorie deficit, I'm restricting my calories. So there is a form of deprivation, but there's no restrictions on the foods I can incorporate in order to allow me to hit that caloric deficit for the day. So if I want to have an ice cream today, I can have an ice cream. And just knowing that I can, oftentimes it causes me to crave it less. I'm less likely to binge. I'm less likely to go off the rails. Just knowing that I can have it any day that I want and still hit my caloric deficit for the day. And when I incorporate a cheat day into my overall week, I'm only aiming for maintenance level calories. It's not like an all-out bender where I'm going to gorge myself silly. I'm being responsible with that cheat day, just incorporating more of the foods that I have a little bit more room. So I now have 800 more calories to work with, where it's easier to incorporate, I guess, a larger cheat meal in there or a couple smaller cheat meals throughout the day, some of my favorite treats throughout the day, and still hit that caloric target. And once again, it's the benefits of these cheat meals and these cheat days, it's more psychological than anything. Based on the current research that is out there, one single cheat day or refeed day where you eat up to maintenance level calories isn't really enough to kind of, I don't know what the word is, to kind of fend off the metabolic adaptations that we experience during a diet phase where our metabolism starts to slow down the longer that we've been dieting. One refeed day, one cheat day isn't going to counteract that effect. There's some evidence that shows that maybe two back-to-back refeed days where you eat up to maintenance level calories can have benefits to kind of preventing some of that metabolic adaptation. But even then, we definitely need to see a little bit more research. Now, when it comes to a complete diet break, where you're taking a week or two off from dieting and eating at maintenance level calories, that has shown to help prevent some of that metabolic adaptation, as well as some other key benefits of helping you preserve your muscle mass during a muscle building phase. 2 years ago, there was a study where participants followed a 33% caloric deficit for 16 weeks. Now, 33% caloric deficit is pretty aggressive. I wouldn't say it's overly aggressive, but still pretty challenging to stick with over the long term. The participants were divided into two different groups. Group number one followed that 33% caloric deficit every single day for 16 weeks straight. The second group followed that 33% caloric deficit for 2 weeks on, and then 2-week diet break where they ate at maintenance level calories, then back to the 2 weeks at 33% caloric deficit, 2 weeks on a diet break at maintenance level calories. So in order to experience 16 weeks in that 33% caloric deficit, that second group had to extend their diet for 30 weeks in total. What they found at the end of the study is that the second group, who alternated between 2 weeks of dieting and a 2-week diet break at maintenance level calories, ended up preserving more muscle mass, burning more body fat, and they didn't experience the same kind of metabolic adaptations as the first group. So that first group, who dieted consistently for 16 weeks straight, their metabolism ended up slowing down more than the group who was alternating between 2 weeks of dieting and a 2-week diet break. The other benefit of the alternating diet diet break group, the second group there, is that at the end of the study, when it was all done, they maintained their weight loss much better than the group who dieted consistently for 16 weeks straight. I think one of the biggest reasons that the second group was able to maintain their weight much better than the first group is that throughout the whole diet, they had a lot of experience of finding out what it's like to eat at maintenance level calories, what it's like to eat to maintain your physique. So once they got to the end of the diet, it wasn't as much of a shock to the system, whereas the first group, it was 6 weeks of dieting and dieting pretty hard and consistently. I think that takes a psychological toll on your mind and your body as well. So once the diet's over, it's like, oh my God, finally freedom. And some people have a hard time adjusting from 16 weeks of consistent dieting to maintenance level calories. It's like, finally the diet's done, let's get back to eating normal. A lot of them will go back to their previous eating habits, which were causing them to gain weight consistently over time. So it really, eating at maintenance it's a learned experience. It's a process in and of itself. So you really got to have that in place at the end of your diet. If you're going to be consistently dieting for 16 weeks straight, you got to have a plan in place to teach yourself how to eat at maintenance level calories. Whereas the second group, they were kind of learning that throughout this entire 30-week dieting process. Now, does this mean this is the best approach where you diet for 2 weeks and then take a 2-week diet break? Personally, I don't think so. My personal preference is to get your diet done and over with as quickly as possible, not drag it on any longer than it needs to be. This is just one study. I think we need a lot more studies to really form a much stronger opinion. It would have been great to see a comparison between the consistent 16 weeks every single day diet to this 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, to a group who had a refeed once a week, ate at maintenance level calories once a week. Comparing that and seeing what the difference would be there. Or maybe would it be any better to diet for 4 weeks straight and then take a diet break after 8 weeks, a diet break after 12 weeks. Like, there's so many different factors that can come into play here, so many different studies that we could come up with to really see what's going to have the best impact on preserving your muscle mass, maximizing the fat burning, so making sure that most of that weight loss is coming from body fat, to make sure that the metabolic adaptations are minimized, and to set yourself up for success at the end of your diet as well. So there's a lot of different factors. There's going to be a lot of different personal preferences in there. But I think if you are going to be dieting for an extended period of time, if you've got 30, 40, 50 or more pounds to lose, I think it's really great to strategically plan in some diet breaks throughout your journey, maybe every 8 weeks, every 12 weeks. I wouldn't push it much further than 16 weeks before taking a diet break where you're eating at maintenance level calories. It's just going to make the process a lot more sustainable. You're going to get a lot more of those mental, psychological breaks from dieting all throughout, and you're going to teach yourself what maintenance level calories, what eating at maintenance is going to be all about for you. If you've got 10 to 20 pounds to lose, I think really you should get that done and over with, and by incorporating just some refeed days where you eat at maintenance level calories throughout as needed, I think you're going to do just fine. And if you happen to lose a little bit of muscle mass throughout the process, you're going to regain that quite quickly after the diet break is over, after diet is over. And as long as you have a good plan in place for hitting maintenance level calories, and you're not just going to be jumping back to old eating habits that cause you to gain weight to begin with. And I hope you're realizing that diet breaks aren't an excuse to pig out for a week or two and completely let loose and lose control of your diet. It's about eating responsibly, enjoying your foods, getting a little bit of a break from the caloric deficit, and learning to eat at maintenance level calories. So when you end this diet, you're going to be in much better control and in a much better position to sustain your fat loss. I hope you gained some valuable insights from today's video, and if you did, please take a moment to drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that thumbs up button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want some more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button so you're notified each time I upload a video. Before you go, don't forget to download your free guide, Jacked After 40, which includes a 7-day sample meal plan to get you shredded after 40. See you in the next video. Have yourself an amazing day.